Hello everyone, myself Professor Dr. Rajeshri Davde, Assistant Professor, DG College of Commerce, Satara. Dear students, I am going to deal with this Business Regulatory Framework subject. Paper 1, Subject Code 16502. In this particular syllabus, we will be discussing various aspects. Business law is also known as commercial law or mercantile law. Law is necessary to regulate the conduct of the people or the party in transaction. This framework of policy, laws and plans helps government to govern the business and commercial transaction in a reasonable manner. And all these transaction needs to be regulated according to letter of law and spirit of law. Letter of law is nothing but the letters or the provisions of a law, and spirit of law is nothing but the object of a law. So according to object and according to subject of law, all these transactions should be regulated in a particular manner. For the smooth functioning of the society and their business life, law plays very essential role. And there is urgent need to understand and discuss the legal relationship between the parties in contract or any business transaction for proper management. Now we'll discuss about the meaning of commercial law or business law. Commercial law or business law is the body of law which governs business and commerce and is often considered to be a branch of civil law and deals both with issues of private law and public law. Commercial law regulates corporate contract, hiring practices, and the manufacture and sales of consumer goods. Business law is also known as commercial law or corporate law. That is the body of law which applies to the rights and the duties of a party, the relation between the parties, and conduct of persons and businesses engaged in commerce, trade, and sales. It is often considered to be a branch of civil law and deals with issues of both private law and public law. Many countries have adopted civil codes which contain comprehensive statement of their mercantile law and commercial law. In India, we can see that there are many welfare legislation. There are substantive law and procedural law. Commercial law or business law is basically comes under substantive law. Substantive law is nothing but the law which prescribes rights and the duties, rights and the liabilities of the parties, and it also provides remedies when there is a breach of contract, a breach of trust, or any breach of any duty. So there may be a specific performance. People can go in the court of law and they can ask for the remedy or justice. It contains the general principle of contract, contract of indemnity and guarantee, bailment and pledge, and contract of agency. So all these contracts comes under special contract. The law of contract deals with those transactions or promises which create legal rights and obligations. In case of non-performance of promise or obligation, one party may approach or agreed party may go to the court and ask for the appropriate remedy. They may ask specific performance on the breach of contract. If we look into the Indian Contract Act 1872, we will understand that this law is very important. Law is basic necessity of every civilized society. According to Holland, law is the rule of external human action enforced by the sovereign political authority. In the words of Blackstone, law is the rule of civil conduct prescribed by the supreme power of state, commanding what is right and prohibiting what is wrong. The law relating to contract in India, which is governed under Act 1872. In earlier lecture, Professor Ketkar ma'am, she had already taught you all these points. But to sum up, I would just give you some important aspect of this contract. Generally, contract may be defined as an agreement which creates rights and obligations between the parties. These obligations and rights must be of such a nature that these can be claimed in the court of law. According to Salman, a contract is an agreement creating and defining obligation between the parties. Section 8, subclause H of the Indian Contract Act 1872 defines contract as an agreement which is enforceable by law. So to understand contract specifically, we need to understand essential ingredient or essential elements of a contract. So there should be an agreement between the parties, there should be an obligation, there should be an enforceability of a contract or agreement, then only that will be a proper or a valid contract. When we talk about element of a contract, an agreement to be enforced in the court of law has to satisfy certain conditions. So these conditions have been prescribed under Section 10 of the Contract Act. According to Section 10, all agreements are contracts if they are made by free consent of the parties, if the parties are competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object, then that contract will be enforceable by law. And the contract which are not expressly declared to be a void. So all these are essential ingredients included in Section 10 of the Act. The essential elements of a contract includes agreement, offer and acceptance, lawful consideration, capacity of a party, free consent. I hope you have understood all these concepts because already these subtopics have been covered in earlier lectures. Consensus ad idem. What is this? So, it means the two parties of the contract must agree upon the same subject matter, in the same manner, and in the same sense. There should be a lawful object. There should not be a contract which is declared to be a void. That means contract should be a valid one. Certainty and possibility of a performance should be there. There should be an intention to create legal relationship in a contract. And finally, other formalities like the contract should be in a written form, there should be sign and signature, and etc. And now I will talk about the topics which has to be covered. So in remaining syllabus, I would be dealing with these topics: free consent and legality of object, void agreements, discharge of contract, remedies for breach of contract. So all these points I will cover in next lecture. Then unit number 2. This unit number 2 is specifically about special contracts like indemnity and guarantee, bailment and pledge, contract of agency. So all these are included in Indian Contract Act 1872 only. There is difference between general contract and special contract. So all these contract of indemnity and guarantee, bailment and pledge, contract of agency, these are the special contract. I will be also discussing Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. This act is also very important. The basic law Indian Partnership Act 1932, which governs the relationship between the partners and their transactions. But this Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008, which prescribes the liability of our partners in a limited sense. There are many benefits under this Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. In the coming lecture, I will be teaching you this unit number 4 also. The Planning Commission of India and 12th 5-year plan 2012 and 17, our Government of India had formed a steering committee to look into various ways of creating an enabling business ecosystem for sustainable and inclusive business development. Business regulatory framework towards optimal business regulatory governance, that is very important. And for that purpose, we all need to be discussed and studied business law in detail. Now about reference book, my dear students, you can use any material from these points. There are many important books like Elements of Mercantile Law by N.D. Kapoor, The Principles of Mercantile Law by Avtar Singh, Commercial and Business Laws, books by various authors. And I would suggest that if it is possible for you, you can purchase Varex also. Then you will understand sections and important provisions of the Act. Then there are related websites and books also which are available on the websites. You can use study material. There are many journals and the articles which you can refer for your extra knowledge on this particular syllabus and the topic. You can also have latest news and amendments. So all the knowledge regarding business regulatory framework you have to have for the proper understanding of this particular subject. And these are the references. These are the references I have used. And finally, I would request that if you have any query or any problem, you can communicate me on my email ID. Thank you.